Hello everyone, one more video here on the channel, and today's theme is why men don't want to date anymore. If you Google exactly this sentence that I just said here now, why men don't want to date anymore, you will see several psychologists, relationship coaches, supposed specialists, articles from newspapers and news portals mainstream, that everyone knows, that will give vague, generic answers, will blame the liquid relations of Bowman, will blame the difficulty in maintaining a connection in the modern world and in capitalism, will always put, it will always be something generic and will never give the real cause of the problem, because, as everyone already knows, all news portals, the mainstream media, have a progressive feminist bias. So, they will never say that it is, because of the toxic behavior of current women. On the contrary, you will find people saying that men are toxic and everything else. That old-fashioned nonsense that we are used to seeing. And this is funny, because it is not such a recent phenomenon, so this business of men is healing. It was not from 2 years ago. I noticed some change of behavior in the case. From 2008 to 2009, in the last 13 years, to which men, there is a video by Hakun. Hakun is very good. He talks about this period of negotiation, in which it was still possible to negotiate with women, in which feminism had not yet destroyed women, to such an extent, not only feminism, but Instagram, too. This level of toxicity that modern women have reached today, it is like a pizza chart, well distributed. It's not just the fault of feminism, it's not just the fault of the cattle that inflate the woman's ego. There are a lot of variables there, but that's a topic for another video. So men still had a period of negotiation around 2010, 2011, in which many men woke up to not make mistakes in the future relationships they wanted to have. They saw that this business is romantic, good, available, affectionate, that women actually hate it. This is not new to anyone who has never read Nessa Hambali. I recommend you read it. I will leave in the description the link to download his books. They are all free PDFs, but elite books as they were written in an era like Facebook. Facebook even existed already, but in Brazil almost no one had. From 2005 to 2008, it was very Orku. Here still, it was a book that showed a lot of the feminine psyche, of the nuances of women, in which no one had the courage to speak that women are not fragile sex, but way many cattle think they are. So he explained a lot to you there, much more in ego training to not fall in love, some tips on how to perceive women's behavior in what they do and not in what they say. Anyway, something for you to protect yourself from falling in love. But at that time, there were not so many men who were giving up on a boyfriend, a monogamy, even a more fixed stay, to marry, etc., because the environment was not so rotten yet. So men were waking up how they were going to act in a relationship. But from about 5 years ago, the thing has deteriorated to such an extent that men really do not want to date anymore. The amount of men who are waking up is something that I already said in the 2 previous videos that I made. It is on an industrial scale, it is not in retail. You are seeing everything that is channeled there. Tiozão Digital, Social Arts do Brunão, Atitude, Alpha do Miguel that I admire a lot. The videos that have of Hakun here, still Dom Sandro. The guys are waking up a lot, and many guys who don't know anything about it. What is red pill? What is midgetal? What is black pill? Purple pill? These terms there. These guys are waking up a lot. The guy is waking up unconsciously. It is obvious that in Brazil there is still a gigantic horde of homos. As Hakun says, who will be guys who do not understand the rules of the game, of relationships. The guy who is going to play a game in which he does not understand the rules, he will obviously lose. They will be guys who will have to pay the pension, who will lose half of the assets, even more in divorce, who will have headaches, who will have tremendous financial and emotional costs to relate, because they do not understand. Women, they are still in this romantic archetype. The guy is trying to be conservative, in a progressive feminist world. So there are a lot of guys who still travel in mayonnaise. But the quantity of men who are waking up has to be exalted, because before the men who were more awake, or they were guys with very specific niches, more underground, who studied these contents, or the natural alphas, who are guys who were born rich, with very good genetics, who have access to various types of women, as much as there are some guys who are still deceived and are made idiots by women. Most of these guys, as they are already born with sexual abundance, they end up having more ease in this game. And many guys, even many average guys, even if they do not have all this sexual abundance, they can even turn there, because the male sexual desire is very strong. So one of the main reasons why men don't date is to theoretically have a regular sex there. This is an odd thing, because women know this, men know this. It's not new to anyone, but men, they saw that, as much as sex was never democratic. Women, if you ask women, why don't men want to date anymore? They will say, because guys have easy sex, it's full of sluts going around. Funny that sluts are always the others, they are never them. This woman loves to talk, they call themselves feminists. One defends the other, but when it's to talk, depending on the subject, they end up always the others are interested, never them. So, they will say that men have easy sex. What they don't say is that, in Brazil, 5%, at most, it's 1 to 5% of Brazilians have easy sex. Of men in Brazil have easy sex. Sex has never been democratized in Brazil, because Brazil is an extremely poor and unequal country, so you have a large mass of 90 to 95% of men who either have no sex, or have to pay the girl on the show, which is a subject for another video, about the girl on the show, or they will have to lower the level, they will have to stay with older women who are already in need, the sluts like one of the 30 there, who went through the wall of the 30, the post-war, as Miguel from Attitude Alpha says, and so. But the overwhelming majority of men don't have a sexual menu, like women think they have. If you look at the behavior of women today on Instagram, they copy the top of men. They try. They preach this speech of freedom. It's never too late. March of the Vidi, not to be judged, etc., etc. And they think they're copying men. They love to say, it's just a woman. This is a typical feminist phrase. It's just a woman starting to have a man's behavior, that she's called a whore. In fact, it's just a woman starting to have behavior, if they corrected to, it's just a woman starting to have behavior of 1–2% of men. She's called a whore. Okay, what's going on? Why don't they want to date anymore? It's hard to see a guy saying this, showing his face and everything. There are even, but the culture of cancellation and everything else is very strong, so the guys, the men, it's not that they're criticizing the rules of the game or anything. The men are simply abandoning the game of dating. Last month, in June, you had the day of dating. You see a lot more women making jokes. Oh, a print ends everything. Oh, it's not because it's the day of dating that I'm going to celebrate, because on the day of dating, I don't celebrate. I don't know what it is, that morbid envy of the women who are dating, who are happy. Okay, I'll make a video too, talking about dating. That works, because there are some dating that still works, even in modern society. They are dying of envy of the friends who are dating. Got it? And as it gets closer to 30, passing 30, this envy intensifies and becomes more and more Machiavellian, right? So, the men, they understood that there is no way to date modern women. That today, you dating an Instagram girl, you will practically be a photographer of her ass, her bikini. You will be a clown that she will be exposing, right? You will have to deal there with an emotional baggage that she will carry from other relationships. And note here, in case some hysterics fall, or hysterical here, some feminist here. No one is looking for immaculate virgins here, but the emotional baggage that women are carrying from other guys that they had, especially casual relationships, right? Even because women who have been dating for a long time and they have more ease, or it is less difficult, let's say so. For them, these more dating women, calmer, who are not so much of the promiscuity, they have more ease, yet so that later get into a relationship, right? Or less difficulty, as you want to call it. But these women who are in the marital sex, in the promiscuity, note, I'm not making a moral judgment here. I do not make a moral judgment here. I will always say this in my videos. I'm just explaining here biology and how behavior, stimulus, reward, affect the dopamine system and brain pleasure. When a woman had an amount of 5, 10, 15, 20 men in which she had a high prominence, casually, her brain was, in a way, it released. In addition to the hormones of oxytocin that releases, which is a hormone that a woman releases from childbirth, which she usually releases when she is with a very prominent guy, because her body, as it is made for motherhood, no matter how much they do not want. And here I'm not romanticizing motherhood or anything. I'm just saying what biology is. In fact, women end up releasing such a large amount of hormones that they do not forget these guys later. That's why there is the term, widow of alpha. So a woman who got a very prominent guy there, even if it was once, she gets marked in that, she will carry this to her relationships, and men are realizing this, that it is impossible to record modern women, that financially is not worth it, emotionally, much less yet, and the guys have already withdrawn from the game. So men, today, many guys they're red-pilled. Guys who woke up, they still do not eat a lot of shit, because people say the cat is still chasing women. I'm seeing a lot more guys who still eat a lot of shit to have sex, than to date. Many men will identify with the situation I'm going to talk about here now, in which you keep giving an idea to a girl on WhatsApp, on Instagram, for many weeks, and then you can get out with her. And then you already, personally, you know her and everything else. You see that it is no longer all that. I'm not even talking physically. Sometimes the person in itself, she is full there of addictions and of people who carry emotional traumas, and then the guy has sex with the woman, loved so much, bare when he saw her photos, and after ejaculation, he keeps thinking, what am I doing in my life? The guy wants to disappear from there, right? This desire for men to want to disappear and sleep after sex, more and more frequent, is precisely because the man does not want to create emotional bond anymore, because the guys see that as the male libido is extremely powerful, it is very difficult to control it. And dating is a renunciation of polygamy, which is the natural instinct of the man. No matter how much. As I said, only 1–5% of men in Brazil have access to easy polygamy, that he will have several women there available to have sex. Even the men there who live in a sexual desert. They have a lot of desire for sex, right? And even if they end up resorting to girls in this program and everything else, as I said, he will not be interested in stopping his sexual desire in favor of a homologamic relationship, which he will have to live with an extremely damaged person by Instagram and by the modern world, right? So, you will not find any G1S psychologist from Altas Horas, Fernanda Lima, none of these places will say that, right? Because the real problem is precisely because women they never wanted so much without giving anything in return, right? Today, practically, what many women have offered is just a beautiful body, right? Because I'm going to make a video just about democratization of aesthetic procedures. There was never such a beautiful woman in life in Brazil like today, right? Precisely because of this democratization of silicone, of lipo of the gym became very accessible. Diet also became very easy to understand how it works. So, men are not interested in a relationship because when a man enters a relationship, he looks for something linear. He looks for peace. He looks for stability, right? The woman likes emotion. The woman likes to always be there, traveling, and posting. And I don't know what. Okay, of course, there will be exceptions for all. This I'm talking about. Okay, it's just funny that everyone says, every woman sees Maria, se são. Right. So, men, they don't want any more. They are abandoning this game. They still, as I repeat, men will still run after women for sex. Some go to sex and dating, but I'm noticing, I've already said here, more and more. Men who are wanting romance, men who are predictable for women, they are very low value. Men, they are men without appearance, without money, that they won't want, right? The guys there, selectable, are increasingly risky for dating, and the women are increasingly depressive because they are embracing the casual sex, not being judged, and everything else. And the casual sex for women destroys the woman in psychological terms. Because she feels discarded later, she gets very sad later. Miguel made a video the day before yesterday coming out in Attitude Alva talking about this. For a man it's neutral. What hurts a lot for a man is pornography, which will be a subject of another video. Another time too, pornography. The disgrace of a man, right? Masturbation and pornography. But that's a subject for another video. Now, the casual sex for a man is neutral. He won't do neither good nor bad. Got it? He will relieve his sexual tension and he won't want to date later, right? He will look for other hobbies. Some men like to play video games, play on the computer. Others like to fish. Others like to practice sports. Others like to play poker. Others like to watch anime manga series in which women do shaming. That's it. It's funny. But men are shaming. It's for the female opinion. More and more, right? So, the woman who really thinks that in the end everything will work out, that she's reaching her 30s, that it's still early. The woman, they like to say that everything is fine, yet, each one with his time, they are completely disconnected from reality and think that there will be enough men to date, right? That's it. The guys they have, men to date, they have, but they are the guys that they consider low-value men, who leave in the friend zone there, who keeps rolling the guy, who keeps saying he's just a friend, right? It's the low-level guy, the guy in need. It's the guy they don't want. Got it? And the guys they really want. These guys will never date them. Right? These guys, usually these guys when they go dating, of course, one or the other, will get an alpha there. But as a rule, the guys they want, these guys are single. For a long time, they are enjoying life as much as possible, and when they get a girlfriend, it's an extremely low profile, with 1,000 followers, closed profile, 0 ass on Instagram and everything else, right? So, it's not in the key of morality, right? It's not just in the key of morality. Because of which men don't want to date, it's in this key in which the environment was. The game was unplayable. So men are withdrawing from the scene. Okay, single men today, it's very difficult to find a guy, grade 6, grade 6.5, there, of market's sexual value, up, who says, I want to date, as much as he will have the behaviors that I said, of going after a woman for sex, still will pay some money, will spend money, will waste time to have sex, but to ask for a date, that ritual, everything. You just have to see there on social networks, on your Instagram, how many dates, how many women, when asked for a date. On the post, the request, post everything, I don't know what, it's a lot. Most of the couples you see is what we call old couple. It's a couple from 2015, 16 back. They are happier that I will make a video talking about these couples, of the couples who are really happy, which are couples who were not so intoxicated by Instagram. So, today, with this huge horde of single women, there are men who don't want to date. And the reason why they don't want a date is precisely this, because the game is unplayable, because it's a bad investment, in which the guy, he is the clown, The modern date today. For those who start today, it's a tremendous circus in which the man is the clown, so the guy doesn't want to play the role of photographer, doesn't want to play the role of toxic companies, of jealous single friends. The guy doesn't want to play the role of provider. The guy doesn't want to carry emotional baggage of women who are carrying other men. And this, you will not find anywhere. Okay, so, until the next video, all the best.